What's up, SNA Assassinators? This is Super Ninja Austin back here with another video, and this is the AEW Dynamite review video. I don't know where that collision even came from. That's not for another 3 days, but you get what I mean. This is the AEW Dynamite on August 7th, 2024, and they did a very magnificent job on tonight's episode, like from start to finish. Well, especially the opener and the main event, not because I just like choosing that to be the top two favorite spots on the card in wrestling. It's just that the promoters know exactly know what place to put the best, the best and the second best contest of the night, which that was the case right here. Like mostly like it is every week, like 9 times out of 10. But yeah, and you got a really good, a qualifier match and a massively excellent main event between the American Dragon and Double J. And we also got build up for both the AEW Women's Championship feud, and then Darby and what's his name? Darby and Jack Perry, with Darby sending a message to the scapegoat, and the TBS Championship. Like, even though we did not see the DMD tonight on tonight's AEW in South Carolina, but she did. She was did like a little virtual. She did appear virtually on the Titantron screen. But we're gonna get to that in just a moment. But we're gonna start off today with MJF taking on Kyle Fletcher. And they definitely went all out into this match. Like, it may have not been like the first place spot, but it was this close as a pinch away from being in the first place spot. But yeah, but I'm gonna tell you why by starting off with them going strong with Kyle Fletcher, not wasting no time, just getting to the point, like just get his hands onto the AEW American champion. This is where then he bounced right to the right side. This is where MJF then moved out of the way, but this is where counters them and put him right into the upper corner. But this is where he bowed his head and bent over like about I would say like about like way before like he was heading his way. This is where he goes for a sunset flip onto the American champion. This is where he tried to go over a headlock. But this is where we got MJF to try to go for a clothesline, but he ducked out of that. This is where he tried to go for a running attack move. Ginormous mistake that MJF did not know which move to hit in particular. This is where he gets hit with a body slam right into the middle. Like, boom, this slamming him with a full force from the best friend of their Will Ospreay. Again, and some of y'all might say that he maybe is a wannabe Will Ospreay, but you cannot deny the fact that this guy is absolutely talented. But once he tried to go for a suicide dive, MJF was trying to get back in his offense side, which he did by hitting a big clothesline onto Kyle Fletcher. This is where it's like all this fun stuff, like this 5 minute of fame is going to be coming to a sad end, or a very depressing end, I should say. This is where MJF is like when I get through with him, like, Kyle, no more. Like, just like I'm about to do to your boy Willie. And this is where then MJF then said, like, you suck, boy. Like, you think you're doing a perfect impression? Like, I think you're doing a very I think you're doing a horrible making this a horrible depression contest right now. This is where then Kyle Fletcher was like, oh yeah, I'll show you something depressing. This is where he nearly put him away with the most the depressed maneuver in all of professional wrestling, and that's the tombstone pile driver. Because once you hit somebody with that move, you're gonna make them rest in peace, like a wise dead man once said. But anyways, this is where we got. But MJF to flip right out of it. He hot shot Kyle Fletcher right in the left side when he went right on the apron. He started beating him up, hitting the right hands into the head. He goes for a wrist lock and then slams him back first right onto the barricade. This is where Fletcher's like, my right arm. This is where MJF was like, you should have known this is going to be only just a matter of time that I'm going to make a comeback. Like, and it didn't even have to take me about 5 minutes in order to do so. This is where, like, with him looking at the fans with that expression, like, and this is where we got Don Callis sitting with commentators like Tony Schiavone, Taz, and Excalibur. This is where we got MJF then pick Kyle back up. And that's where, but at first he started taunting him by stomping on his finger. He was like, what are you gonna do now, Kylie? And he's like you're like too much for you. Like, you know, he's like, oh, like is the little sissy, sissy too sensitive? And he stomp on his head. And this is where he's like, and he's like, and he said like, you're not getting my title, kid, and I don't give a damn about you. And then I was like, yeah, if you haven't made it more obvious enough, you're torturing him. But this is where he started bending him right sideways into the left side. This is where on his arm. This is where we got Kyle Fletcher got back up, so he hit some punches right to the midsection. This is where like a triple multi underhook into the gut until he tried to run right to the right side, but he gets slammed right back down into the right side from the back of his head. This is where he tried to pick up Fletcher, but Fletcher's hot jawbreakers him. This is where he runs right to the right side. This is where he tried to go for a clothesline, but this is where MJF ducks out of the way, go for a wrist lock of his own, and hit him face first right onto the ground. This is where he tried to go for like his own version, like an inverted C9 driver, but he put his knee right onto his right shoulder so he won't get full force hit right into the canvas. It's more like a shoulder breaker rather than a neck breaker. Or a neck crusher, let me rephrase that. This is where we got MJF that started bending on that left shoulder that he's been that was bothering Kyle Fletcher, that it was getting banged up the most. This is where we got Kyle Fletcher somehow got back up, and this is where he hits a thrust kick right onto MJF and knock him down. When you try to go for the kangaroo kick, this is where then we got both men onto the ground. This is where we got both the guys back up eventually. This is where we got Kyle Fletcher then nailed him with a what move was it? It was after he put him right to the bottom right corner side or hitting some right hands to the face. This is where he tried to Irish whip him to the diagonal side on the upper left side, but this is where MJF, I think, pulled onto that bad arm. This is where he tried to crossbody him, but he turned it around into a side slide slam, a slide side slam with an L. With an extra L. This is where we got Kyle Fletcher's like, oh, come on, like that should have been it. Like, all right, like no matter. He's like, okay, I'm gonna try to get to the point, get to my finisher. This is where then. This is where he tried to get to the point, but this is where MJF then rolled out of the ring into the left corner side. This is where Kyle Fletcher was like, all right, like no matter. Like I'm used to this. Like I've been in this road before. This is where he rolls to the left side, then he goes to the right. He hits a suicide dive. He hits the suicida, and he made MJF hit face first right onto the Barry's tombstone on the right. That's where he went right on top of it. He was like, yeah, tribute to Barry. And he's like, and all you South Carolina fans are doing tonight is where they're like, we're doing absolutely great that you're putting this scumbag right and putting in this place. This is where then MJF then was like, nope, like trying to pull a Samoa Joe right onto what's his name? Kyle Fletcher when he got up on the top rope and tried to finish him off with his splash thingamajig. This is where then when Kyle Fletcher noticed this, he went right down in the ring. This is where he goes up in the upper right corner side on that top corner. This is where he then hit a. That's where then he goes for a swift kick right to the face onto MJF. This is where we got Kyle Fletcher then going for a moonsault right off to that corner, knocking over MJF. Both men are down. This is where we got the fans like, this is awesome. Cut. And I was like, yeah, this is totally awesome. I was like, and if the main event match between Danielson and Jarrett doesn't come through, like which it did, by the way, it was a very massive and awesome contest. Like the best way to describe it. But yeah, like they definitely succeed on that. But this is where we got MJF then put him right into the upper right corner side barricade. This is where then MJF was like, who? That's where then he's like, why the hell are you wearing that hat? Right? Which I believe that was I'm not sure, like it was a sports team or Will Ospreay hat or something. This where then he said, like, I'm a kick the hell out of his head, out of his this kid's head, and I'll do the same thing. Whoever crossed me like this, like this bastard did. This is where he's like y'all in this too. And this is where then he ran and tried to go for a drop kick. Or no, it was a knee strike actually. But he gets tripped right into the chair once Kyle Fletcher got out of the way. He crashed right into the chair, but he got stuck in it a little bit and tripped right over the barricade. He went right into the apron. This is where then we got Kyle Fletcher then did a stepping stool and then fling himself into a cannonball right onto MJF. This is where then Kyle Fletcher then did a very humbling pose like of support to the fans, like when the fans start cheering for him, like yay, like Kyle, like you're not exact Will Ospreay, but you don't have to be in order to get pop. This is where the fans start chanting AEW, like if it was ECW. This is where we saw Kyle Fletcher threw MJF back in the ringside area. This is where they showed their appreciation by chanting AEW's name, like saying this is the best contest they watched so far in the night. Well, let's say that continues like once we got the main event. But yeah, like I said, we're going to be talking about that in just a moment. But this is where we got Kyle Fletcher eventually got MJF back in the ring. This is where he goes for a middle go up in the middle ropes. Actually, it was exactly the top rope in the upper right side. Hits him with this macho elbows drop right onto MJF. This is where he tried to go for a pin. He knew he got the pinfall, but this is where MJF got the shoulders up at the last second of 2.999, 999, double triple nine. And this is where Kyle Fletcher was like, you must be kidding me right now. Like, and that's where he was like, oh well, I'm just gonna have to what move and he was about to hit. It was like he took a little long though. This is where he was, I believe, trying to go for a suplex DDT. I'm not sure what it was, but MJF countered, did a wrist lock, slam him face first right to the ground. MJF then picks Kyle Fletcher right back up. This is where then he goes for that brain buster. But this is where Kyle Fletcher flipped right out of it. This is where he tried to turn it into a German suplex and a transition. This is where then we got MJF then counter try Irish whip him to the bottom corner side. But this is where we got Kyle Fletcher got him right back. This is where he hit him with the tombstone pile driver. This is where we got him. But this is where he was unsuccessful, and I guess he was double cursed for not hitting the maneuver. This is where we got MJF then hit a wheelbarrow roll up, which is kind of the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling. But this is where he kicks out at 2 even. This is where we got Kyle Fletcher then go for running a tag move. He did not know what move was hitting in particular. MJF then used that as advantage and elbow strike him, hit a double foot stomp on Fletcher's arm. This is where then MJF then grab onto that arm, try to go for arm bar. But this is where we got Kyle Fletcher counter, try to attempt a pile driver. MJF counter and try to go for an Alabama slam, which was successful. This is where we got MJF then try to roll him back up. This is where then he goes for that hammerlock into a hammerlock into a DDT, I believe. Yeah, like with him, got him and then by wrapping his legs around his waist. This is where he DDT'd him, but he only got a final count at 2.999, 999999999, double triple nine minus 0.1 away from being 3. And I was like, if I didn't know better, I would have expected this to be the finish, but unfortunately it wasn't. The case is where the fans started chanting "This is awesome" again, showing their appreciation about their and showing their support as well, saying they're enjoying this contest. And this is where we got MJF. Is like, okay, no matter, he's not gonna defeat me in this match. This is where we got Kyle Fletcher hit him with a drop kick, denying him. This is where they're trying to get back on his feet. This is where we got what else Kyle Fletcher did? It was he then drive MJF face first right into the team of the turnbuckle, right into the middle turnbuckle. All that, wow, that was very brutal. I don't think nobody has ever done that to the salt of the earth, at least not in the mid card division. But yeah, this is where we got Kyle Fletcher was Ozzy. This is where then he got himself right back up. This is where then he try to go up on the top rope and try to hit a what's that avalanche brainbuster, but he gets intercepted by MJF. He bit him right into the face. This is where then we got MJF then go and turn and try to go for Try to go for an avalanche German, not German suplex. What was that? Avalanche tombstone pile driver, actually. But this is where we got Kyle Fletcher flipping right out of it. This is where we got MJF then try to go for, what's that? This is where they try to go for a Paramount Sunriser, but this is where we got Kyle Fletcher then counter out of it. Is where he goes for a pin, wrapping around his arms right onto MJF's leg. And I was like, again, if he wasn't feuding with Will Ospreay right now, I would have expected that would have been a 3 count. But no, this you got button championship before his best friend Will Ospreay does. This is where then. But he kicked out a final second. And you're like, how did he kick out of that? And I don't know, and we're not sure how he did. That's where he finally hits his tombstone pile drive, picking him right up in the mid-air. This is where he nearly got a near fall, like somebody better call Britney Spears because he did it again. But anyway, this is where Kyle Fletcher then started showing more of his frustration into this match, And yeah, this is where we got Don Calliston came out into the ringside area. This is where he tried to distract the referee. He was like, "Oh," this is where then Don Calliston just threw the screwdriver right into the ring while arguing with the referee. But the referee's like, "Hey, what are you doing on the apron?" When all of a sudden, this is where he didn't say much. "Oh, I thought I might get a front row view. It's more better to look close right here." And that's where then the referee's it's one thing of sitting in ringside, but doing it right there on the apron, that's way too much. That's where it was the same screwdriver that he stabbed Kenny Omega in the head with. This is where then we got Kyle Fletcher then was thinking about using on MJF, but this is where then he had second thoughts. But he was like, try to do it. This is where then he was about to hit it onto MJF, but this is where we got Kyle Fletcher then had second thoughts, and he was having some conscience. But this is where it's like, you know what, screw this. And this is where he threw it right onto the ground. I believe that was kind of a bad idea because he gets end up low blowing him, or MJF low blowing Kyle, when he threw the screwdriver away. This is where we got MJF then grab onto his. That's where he kicks the screwdriver out, hide the evidence. That's where he finally got Kyle Fletcher right where he wanted him. This is where then we got him to hit a drop kick onto Kyle Fletcher right into the upper left side. This is where we got this is where then we got MJF then going for that sheer drop brain, but that severe teardrop brain buster. This is where he gets the 1, 2, 3. This is where then MJF started playing his American Spangled theme music, his new theme,